Chapter 441, Ruby's Research. Ruby was looking at the test result in her hand in satisfaction. After receiving a large batch of shadow creatures' corpses from Rhea, she had been busy doing her research and trying to extract the mana, because she found out that the dark element mana seemed to be easier to see compared to other. Or it might be because these magic beasts were of higher ranks. In any case, Ruby managed to do it and extracted the concentrated dark element mana in the test tube. The problem is, the mana would not last long in this state and had to be used by others one way or another. She could also absorb it if she wanted to, as she found out that one of her element is dark element. But Ruby didn't know whether she has other elements or not because she didn't do comprehensive test. For Ruby, her own strength as a magician or magic warriors were not important. These research results were more important. If the mana can be safely extracted, it might be useful for other things. Ruby looked at the glass in front of her happily. The existence of mana has always been a headache for many people. Even if they knew that there was mana around them, it was impossible for them to extract it safely and used it for other things. The only thing they could do was to make use of the existing magic cores extracted from the magic beasts. But what if the magic beasts were eliminated? Where should they go to find more mana? But so far, I can only extract the mana from the magic beast corpses, and it might take a long time to figure out the method to extract it from other sources. Ruby looked at the row of plants on the side. One of the requirements that she thought for herself was to be able to extract mana safely from the plants. Because the plants absorb nutrients from the ground and possibly also the mana into their body. Slowly but surely, the plants will be filled with mana. They knew it and they could absorb it into their bodies naturally through consumption and training. But to separate the mana from the plant, no one could do it yet. Many research have been done on this matter and Ruby was also interested. But she felt that she should try it from other aspects. So she turned her attention towards the dark element magic beasts' corpses that Rhea gave to her not long ago. It seemed that these magic beasts' bodies contained much more mana than what she expected, which allowed her to be able to study them in depth. And I can even see the dark element characteristic clearly. It's really magical. Ruby sighed deeply and really wanted to make more investigation for these magic beasts and mana. She felt that the appearance of magic beasts had gradually led her research astray. No, not astray, she was guided to focus more on mana and the magic beasts. It seemed as if mana will become a new source of energy in the future. And this energy seemed to be inexhaustible. Because mana could not be completely eliminated but simply changed their forms one way or another. Isn't it a type of energy? For now, this is good enough. Ruby submitted the research report in her hand happily. If the higher-ups were willing to invest more resources for her, then she would be able to do more research and didn't have to go to Rhea. Well, it was not like she asked for help, but Rhea was the one who stepped down and chose to help her without hesitation. Ruby felt that she was really lucky to be able to meet with good friends. Because after the world had changed, many people's relationship became even more plastic, and it was hard to trust other people sincerely. Sigh. As Ruby happily cleaned up her table, Professor Brown came inside. "Ruby, did you succeed?" Professor Brown was delighted when he saw Ruby's bright smile. "Yes," Ruby nodded. "I have submitted the report and now waiting for verification. I'm sure that if this method succeed, it might be able to be used for other elements." Good, good. Professor Brown is happy for his student. He did help in her research, but the one who did it was mostly Ruby and Professor Brown almost didn't do anything. But being able to satisfy his curiosity was more than enough for Professor Dit. The achievement belonged to his student and he would not be greedy to take her glory. When the result come out, we could apply to ask for a batch of other element magic beasts, Professor Brown said with pleased look. If they truly succeed, they might be able to do more experiment. And for Professor Brown, this was the best news ever. Ruby's eyes also shone when she heard that. She wanted to do more research. Cough. Let's finish this one first. Otherwise, it would be impossible even if she requested to the higher-ups for more materials. They would tell her not to chew more than what she could bite. Because if she were to divide her focus, it would be impossible for her to fully focus on her current projects. Professor Brown's research's direction was also different from her. Professor Brown, how's your research so far? Ruby took the initiative to ask. I failed again. Professor Brown looked a bit embarrassed. It seems that for us to cultivate artificial magic beasts, it required more than just normal breeding environment. Yes, Professor Brown was researching how to breed these magic beasts. To be honest, when Ruby heard what Professor Brown wanted to do, she thought that her professor was getting too much ahead, because the existence of mana had changed the body of these magic beasts, and it seemed that fragile babies of these magic beasts couldn't survive in normal environment. So far, none of the magic beasts' babies managed to survive. Chapter 442, False Claim. Wait, it seemed that the fertility rate was even lower. Ruby didn't even know how Professor Brown managed to make these magic beasts get pregnant, and she didn't want to know either. She was afraid that Professor Brown's method will make her question the world's morality. Will there be special environment for their growth? Ruby murmured in a low voice as she looked at the report in Professor Brown's hand. Perhaps, but I don't know for sure. Samuel had said that these magic beasts have different living environment, but I'm not sure how it affect their children. Professor Brown sighed. If these magic beasts were similar to ordinary animals, it would have been so much easier. Unfortunately, it was not the case at all. For some reason, similar species have different living environment. Was it because of the mana contamination? There were so many questions but so few answers. Both Ruby and Professor Brown could guess that it might take decades for them to finish their research. Even if there were many researchers that Continent Z had deployed to study various matters, it was impossible to completely answer all of these questions anytime soon. They had to be patient and continue their rigorous research. I plan to ask some questions to Samuel when he come back about where he found these magic beasts, Professor Brown said. Perhaps it'll be the key to my successful research. Ruby chuckled and nodded. Now that you have succeeded in extracting the dark magic element, do you want to change your research's direction? Professor Brown asked nonchalantly.
No.
Ruby shook her head and looked at the corpse of the dark element magic beasts on the table. I plan to study the specific percentage of the dark magic element contained within the organs and see how it affects the magic beasts. Perhaps I'll be able to understand how the mana is distributed within the magic beasts and how it'll affect their practice. Professor Brown nodded. If you need help, you can ask. Thank you, Professor. Drap. Drap. As the two of them planned to go back, a group of people came. Manai, Professor Dit's other assistant, saw them and then pointed at Ruby. It's her. She stole my research. Ruby's face turned black instantly. She looked at Manai murderously. This man and his professor had already made a lot of trouble when they were in the crack back then. But at that time she tolerated him. Because Ruby knew very well that it was impossible for them to have conflict with the researchers from Continent Z's capital city. Those people who listened to their quarrel would never side with them. But now, screw them. I have never even entered your laboratory. How could it be possible for me to steal your result? Don't slander me, Ruby sneered. No, you did steal my result. The one about the shadow creature is the research that my teacher and I have been working for a long time. How could it be possible for such a student without any foundation like you be able to succeed? Manai's stance was really tough. It seemed as if he would be able to get what he wanted as long as he came forward to Ruby and made her hand over her result.
No.
Professor Dit, is this how you teach your student? To slander other people. Professor Brown was really angry. He might not have the highest qualification before the world changed, but he truly loved research. And what he hated the most was people who wanted to use their position to take up the result of other people. Did they never think that these people had worked so hard to achieve their result? To take the result that these people had poured out sweat and blood to achieve it? Are you even human being? I have the report in my hand and there's no way the report would be the same. Ruby looked at Manai coldly. She felt that these two students from Professor Dit's were really bad and neither of them were good. The main reason why she could achieve result was because Ria handed her a lot of shadow creatures' corpses. Without these, how could it be possible for her to do a low 2 researches? There were a lot of materials that she had wasted along the way because it was really difficult to fulfill what she wanted to do. Now, These 2B asterisk stards wanted to take over what she had worked so hard to research? No way. It's the truth. No, you're... Bang. When Mr. Jones came, the two sides were still scolding each other. But the place where they quarreled had been changed to the special detention room not far from the research institute. After all, the work of these people involved a lot of confidentiality. For safety reason, it would be better for them not to stay far away from the research institute. The previous journey into the crack was an exception. An exception that ended up badly. Many people have been scolded badly because of that incident, and no one dared to mention that matter again. Tell me what happened clearly. Mr. Jones truly have headache. He also recognized Ruby because she was one of the two girls who came with Amelia to City A base back then. From this alone, he could guess that Ruby should have good relationship with Amelia and Ria. Once this matter involved Ria, it might alarm Mr. A and the higher-ups. Headache. Sir. They stole my research result. Manai quickly reported Ruby. I did not. Don't speak nonsense. Ruby's eyes were cold when she looked at Manai. But the parts that you used for research are all the part that belong to me. It should have been written in the report. Manai raised his chin proudly. When the shadow creature was first killed, the corpse was divided into two and the parts that Ruby wrote were all under him. How could Ruby do the research if it was not from him? Chapter 443. Sir? So Manai is very confident. Professor Brown also frowned when he heard this, because it was his mistake that allowed them to record everything clearly. Should he not do so at the beginning? But Ruby was not worried. Ruby sneered. I have more shadow creature in my hands and I have reported it. No way. That's not possible. Manai almost stood up when he heard Ruby's words. No matter whether you believe it or not, it's the truth. Ruby didn't care whether Manai believed it or not and turned to look at Mr. Jones. I have received more shadow creature from my friend and I have made the report about this. I'm sure that this matter should have been reported. Ruby didn't report Ria's name. She only wrote down that she had received a large number of shadow creature from other sources and used them for her research. This was reported not long after she came back because she knew that if she ever found something, she needed a legal source. For this reason, Ruby also tried to ask Ria about it. And Ria herself told Ruby that it was fine to report it this way. As long as Ruby didn't mention Ria's name, it was impossible for them to know that it was her so soon. Though Ria herself already had her vest fallen in front of some people in the higher-ups. So they definitely knew who Ruby meant. To think that this report will come in handy. The reason why Ruby made this report in the beginning was because Ria told her that it's impossible to hide the research materials in her hand. The higher-ups would not stop them from collecting research materials on their own and instead encourage it. After all, there was truly a limit to how much they could fund the research of these researchers. Even if they wanted to support it rigorously, they had to think about the impact that their actions would be for other aspects. They could only try to give support impartially to all researchers who were involved in it. But that's... All research materials have to be reported, even if the materials are obtained privately, Ruby said calmly. She might just be a student before the world changed. But it didn't mean that she didn't know any research's rules or anything like that. Years of helping her professor in the academy had long taught her many rules that she had to follow when she was in the laboratory. Ruby has always been meticulous in her work. She remembered all the rules listed when she first came to the laboratory and knew that some loopholes could be used. But she always tried to follow it so that no one could bite her back. Now it came in handy. So you have reported everything, Ruby? Professor Brown asked. His tone was clearly relieved. He didn't expect that his student have already made the report for this, so it was good. In this way, these people wouldn't have the chance to take advantage of his student. When Professor Brown thought about this, he felt really happy. Ruby smiled confidently. Yes, Professor. So if this B asterisk starred kept on making trouble, she would just pull out those reports that she had submitted in advance. Though she would have to apologize to Ria. Because in this way, there was a high chance that the fact that she knew Ria and Ria's identity as a Runemaster would be found out by others. When thinking about this matter, Ruby felt a faint headache. She knew that Ria had her own reasons why she didn't want others to find out her identity, But at the same time, Ria was still helping her friends out, including her. This would definitely make it easier for others to figure out her identity. Especially because when Ria made a move, she might not think too much about the consequences afterwards. Ruby just sighed deeply in her heart. No, you're definitely lying. Manai shook his head rapidly as if doing this could change the established fact. There's no way you have the ability to collect the materials on your own. Ruby is weak. This was something that everyone knew and no one could refute it. After all, Ruby basically spent her time to do her research, completely neglecting her own training. Even if she did some meditation from time to time, it was not much and only enough to make sure that she would not be at the very bottom of the society. But she had no experience in fighting. Ruby herself also didn't want to go out and make trouble with others. Isn't it better for her to be a researcher honestly? The matter of gathering materials and so on could only be tossed to other people who had the capability to find it. I might not have the ability, but it doesn't mean that I can't ask for help. Ruby rolled her eyes and then looked at Mr. Jones. I'm not lying, Mr. Jones, and you can check it too. Mr. Jones is Samuel's father, and from what Ruby knew, Samuel is also a returnee who had strong skill. Perhaps he knew about Ria? To be honest, this was basically gambling, and Ruby felt that no matter what she did, Ria's identity could not be hidden from Mr. Jones. Then check. There's no need. Mr. Jones interrupted Manai before he continued to make trouble. Even if he knew that the person in front of him was someone who was sent from Continent Z's capital city, Mr. Jones didn't have any good impression of him and didn't want to take care so much. So arrogant and annoying. Why are you? I know. Mr. Jones sighed and then motioned for Ruby to come with me. Let's talk in other room. Sir. Manai had an unbelievable tone. But Mr. Jones didn't pay attention to them and only let Ruby follow him to a different room. This was the private room where no conversation could be recorded and no one outside the room could hear their conversation. Chapter 444. Negotiation. It was simply the perfect place for those who wanted to have a secret conversation. Sit down. Are the source of your research materials came from Ria? Mr. Jones asked slowly. Ruby didn't answer and instead looked at Mr. Jones quietly. She didn't want to let Ria be chased by the higher-ups and others. After all, Ruby knew the Ria as hiding her identity, and it would not be a good thing for her to reveal this matter to others. You don't have to hide it. I already know that Ria is the Runemaster and this room is perfectly sealed. Mr. Jones sighed. She's going out with Samuel right now to explore the crack. On one side, Mr. Jones was glad that Ruby knew how to hide this matter. But at the same time, he felt headache when he thought about these brats. Can't they trust him a bit more? Even his son was the same. Sigh. None of these brats were worry-free. Ruby sighed. Yes, it's her. Since Mr. Jones had said so much, Ruby also knew that it was useless for her to hide it. She felt that Ria might have allowed her identity to be leaked to some people on purpose. Anyway, she will apologize to Ria when the latter came back later and explained what happened here. While Ruby didn't want to implicate Ria, she also knew that without any backing whatsoever, it was very difficult for her to stand firm on her own. Her identity as a researcher and a weak woman was simply too easy to be exploited. Ruby sighed deeply in her heart, but she didn't want to change from this path. She wanted to do more research and possibly uncover more things about magic and mana along the way. All right, I know what to do, Mr. Jones sighed, as he thought this matter was really related to Ria. Considering Ria's ability that was deemed to be very important by the higher-ups, there was no way that the higher-ups wouldn't come to interfere. The only good thing was that they definitely wouldn't make trouble and choose to side with her without hesitation. But at the same time, the number of cards they could use to control Ria would increase. His son was basically restrained because of his and the others' existence. And for Ria, it was Amelia, Ruby, and Sophia's existence that restrained her. When this was known to the higher-ups, Mr. Jones could only sigh deeply in his heart. He hoped that those people would be reasonable and didn't try to exploit these people, because the backlash they could possibly receive from these people was not something that they could possibly handle on their own. You should not tell others about this matter and they will not trouble you anymore. You just have to focus on your research, and if your result is good, I'm sure that you can get more resources allocation on your own, Mr. Jones said. Ruby was stunned and quickly said, "Yes, I will." After that, Mr. Jones left. Ruby understood that what Mr. Jones meant was that she didn't have to worry so much because she had a backing behind her. The corner of her lips curled up slightly, and then she sighed. It seemed that she will be under the care of Ria in the future. Whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, Ruby didn't know. She just hoped that she would not cause so much trouble for Ria. Knock. Knock. Miss Ruby? I'm Reuben, Mr. Samuel's assistant. I'm sure that you know me. Reuben grinned after he opened the door and saw Ruby. Ruby looked at Reuben quietly. Of course she knew. They have traveled together for quite some time in the crack. At that time, Reuben was making a lot of magic talisman, which clearly showed his status as Ria's student. Though it does feel a bit funny to think that Ria's student is older than her. But it seemed that these two people never thought that there was anything wrong with this matter, and they enjoyed such interaction with each other. It was really unique and interesting. As Ruby thought about this, she looked at Reuben in front of her calmly. Now that she had exposed the fact that she and Ria might be a bit close, she might be watched over by some people in City Base. This Reuben should be one of them, and since she had some interaction with him before, she wouldn't feel so awkward. Mr. Jones is really thoughtful. I know you. Ruby smiled. All right. I'll take care of your affair for the next few days. Thank you. I'll be troubling you. After the meeting with Ruby, Mr. Jones came back to his office while rubbing his temple. He knew very well that he couldn't hide this matter from Mr. A, especially because the researchers were people sent by the people from Continent Z's capital city. The reason why they were sent here was to help with the research and to get more samples from the crack. But that missions went badly. After that, the researchers stayed in City Base and didn't seem to have any intention to go back in the slightest bit. When Mr. Jones thought about this, he felt headache about it. At the same time, he knew that there was nothing that he could do about it. The higher-ups might give a lot of convenience towards these returnees, but they would not hide the fact that they wanted to control these people. Control? Mr. Jones sighed deeply. Who among these returnees would be willing to be used by others? Having survived a bloody and cruel world during a period of time that was unknown to others, they should have experienced a lot of things that they didn't want others to know in the slightest bit. And it was precisely during this period of time that these people learned how to be strong and how to control their own life. Contact Mr. A. Chapter 445. Negotiation 2. Mr. A seemed to have been waiting for Mr. Jones's phone call. It could be said that he had heard his own researchers coming to him for complaint, and now he was only waiting for Mr. Jones to call him. Sitting in his office, Mr. A looked at Mr. Jones in front of him. It seems that the matter has been resolved on your side? What did they tell you? Mr. Jones asked back instead of answering. That the leader of City Base is very partial? Mr. A's tone had a hint of teasing, and then he chuckled. It seems that this should involve the other returnees. Since it's not your son, I can only guess that it should be that Runemaster. The two of them didn't mention Ria's name, but they knew very well who Mr. A meant with his words. Ria's identity has been kept a secret, but there were still people who knew about it. Mr. A was among them. Ever since she exposed her identity in that crack and saved the people who came back, there were more people who paid more attention to her. Moreover, her life experience was also completely dug up. It was so much that they knew more things than the person herself. After all, Ria would not remember every details of what she did over the years, but these people could do it, though the surveillance cameras and so on that was still left from before the earthquake happened. Yes, the research materials in Ruby's hand are given by her, Mr. Jones admitted frankly. I have told her not to tell this matter to anyone else, but I don't know how tight-lipped your researchers are. This is a threat. Mr. Jones knew that these researchers had found out about Ria's existence, but they didn't know Ria's ability even if she had made a move, because at that time, everyone was too busy running away. Aside from some people who were close to Ria realizing that it was her, the others only knew that someone was very powerful and managed to block the magic beasts in the crack. But these two researchers were present. They should know that there was someone powerful among the people who came with them and could provide this information to others. So in order to prevent them from spreading this matter to others, I don't know when your style has become more violent. Mr. A arched his eyebrows as if he didn't recognize the person in front of him is Mr. Jones. The two of them had communicated for a long time, and Mr. A felt that Mr. Jones is a very reasonable person. The business cooperation they had in the past was also very pleasant. It was to the point that Mr. A was relieved to leave City A base in the hands of Mr. Jones and didn't meddle in his management. But now Mr. A felt that Mr. Jones was actually quite similar to his son. Because Samuel's style, it was far sharper and would bite the prey in front of him without hesitation. Moreover, Samuel always liked to take advantage of others and try to maximize the profits he could possibly get. The world is no longer the same. Mr. Jones leaned back against the chair. It's more dangerous outside, and I don't think that I can possibly protect my son if I didn't do anything for him. Right now, Samuel is one of the strongest person in the entire world, and no one dared to blatantly fight against him. Peter was an exception. That man really didn't know the word fear, as he kept on challenging Samuel whenever he could. So Mr. Jones knew that if he wanted to protect his son and not becoming his son's weakness, he had to change his style to be tougher. Yes, becoming a powerful magic warrior is important. But it was also important to have other skills that could allow him to sit on this seat without other people coveting his position. Mr. A chuckled. I understand. There will be people taking them back to the capital city, and after that, you won't hear from them again. The words were cold, and it was not like something that an upright person would say. But who among them were really upright and kind? They had seen so much of the darkness in the world, and this period of time was indeed very special. It would be impossible for them to remain the same as before. I don't think that you're willing to sacrifice the talent that the nation needed at will. Mr. Jones arched his eyebrows. Don't get me wrong, we won't take their lives. We're just making sure that they will not do anything unnecessary before they obtained the permission. Mr. A looked at Mr. Jones and then said, After all, there will be time when the truth comes to light. The truth comes to the light? Mr. Jones blinked his eyes before realizing that Mr. A was talking about the time when Rhea finally revealed her identity in public. It was impossible for Rhea to be hiding her identity for the rest of her life. Well, it was not impossible. That is, if they didn't see her taking action on her own and risking the exposure in front of others. If Rhea truly didn't want others to know her identity in the slightest bit, the best choice for her to make was to hide far away and act as an ordinary person. Is it possible? It's possible. As long as she didn't behave out of the line, it was not impossible for Rhea to keep her identity secret for the rest of her life. But this meant that she would not be able to interact like how she had done so far. And perhaps this also meant compromising her own improvement. But Rhea didn't do it. And these people were smart enough to realize that Rhea never planned to hide her identity for the rest of her life. Chapter 446. Negotiation 3. As for when Rhea planned to reveal her identity, they didn't know. But they could guess that she should be waiting for the right time, the time when she felt that it was appropriate for her to reveal her identity. And that time might be when she felt that she was strong enough to withstand the wind and storm of the outside world. Right? And it seems that the other returnees have told you something for you to come into that conclusion, Mr. A. Mr. A smiled and tapped the armrest. The higher-ups did contact a few returnees and talked with them about a few things. To be honest, he was quite surprised when he heard about a few secrets that they were willing to disclose. And the reason why they felt that it was fine to disclose was, the moment they reach rank 7, not many things can kill them, Mr. A said slowly. Did Samuel ever told you about this? Rank 7. This was indeed a special rank that Samuel told Mr. Jones in the past. Samuel told him that from the moment he reached rank 7, everything will be different. Things that used to worry them so much would not be of concern when they reached rank 7. The power they wielded in their hands, even if they have to face a nuclear bomb, they would not be afraid. At that time, their source of fear would only be themselves and other people of the same ranks. Otherwise, even they might not be able to kill themselves. This was their source of confidence. At the same time, it was clear that all returnees were racing in time in order to reach rank 7. It was to the point that they didn't care that they were exposing their identities to the higher-ups and asked for some help that seemed negligible. From a certain point of view, it was clear that these people were doing things covertly and would not ask too much. Some of them would not even talk much with them. They didn't know about their abilities and vice versa. For this matter, the higher-ups were also helpless, but they also knew that they have no way to stop these returnees from achieving their goals. These returnees were simply too powerful, and if they had a conflict with them, what awaited them would be nothing more than a cruel and miserable battle. Are they willing to take such a huge sacrifice just to fight against these returnees? The answer is no. They didn't dare. They have already lost so many people because of the earthquake and the magic beasts. Now they had to follow up with a battle against each other? No one would be able to withstand being the enemies of the entire world. So since these returnees hadn't done anything outrageous, the higher-ups were also still very tolerant of them and willing to follow their wishes. They were cooperating on the surface. "Are you willing to let them reach rank 7? Mr. Jones asked without answering. Mr. A chuckled. "Do you really think that there's anyone in this world who can stop them from reaching rank 7? He did consider that matter before, but then another person came to him and asked the same question that he asked just now. Is there anyone capable of stopping them from reaching rank 7? For these people, reaching rank 7 was not climbing a new rank that was full of difficulties but merely restoring their original ranks. They already have the experience to reach rank 7, and then they only needed to be given enough time and resources to reach it. But other people were not the same. Because there were a lot of things that they had to pay attention to reach rank 7, each path has their own exclusive methods. No matter which path they took, the moment they reached rank 7, everything will be worth it. It's a rank that completely surpassed any other ranks. And all returnees have the qualification to reach rank 7. They can't stop it. Unless there was a major incident that forced these people from reaching rank 7, then there would not be anyone who could prevent them to achieve that step. It seems that there's no one but each other, Mr. Jones said calmly. But I don't think that they are willing to fight against each other just to stop them from reaching rank 7. Yes, these returnees were competing. But it didn't mean that they were stupid. They knew that the other party had the chance and ability to reach rank 7 one way or another, and then they tried to stop it. Are they stupid? As much as they wanted to stop the other party, it was more likely that they would only hinder their own progress, and then the other returnees would take the chance when the two of them were injured to make progress. Who would want to do anything worthless like that? They were simply making wedding dresses for others. So rather than fighting against other people, it would be better for them to focus on their own progress and slowly but surely making their steps forward to reach rank 7 as soon as possible. They won't do it. Mr. A shook his head. And I think that you should know very well what our methods in dealing with these returnees are. Control, coaxing, and cooperation. All three were done subtly, so that it would not arouse these people's disgusts. After all, if they wanted to cooperate for a long time, the carrot and sticks would be the most appropriate method. And this was their plan in the long way to go. Grasping their weaknesses one by one. As long as these people they cared for are still alive, none of them will be willing to be reckless. Mr. A said calmly with a smile on his face as if he was talking about the weather and not something cruel like this. Chapter 447. It's here. Mr. Jones was silent. He would never forget that the person in front of him is a politician, a person who has been standing on the forefront and dealt with many old foxes. For him to be able to stand on this position, how could he not understand the sophistication that belonged to this world? He might have talked about a lot of things with Mr. Jones, but in essence it was nothing more than the fact that the higher-ups and the returnees were simply on the situation where they were using each other. The returnees knew that they have advantage in their field and the fact that they were stronger. And the higher-ups didn't want them to be an uncontrollable factor that could threaten the safety of countless people all over the continent. The first one wanted more resources and the second one wanted their ability. It's their cooperation. A fragile cooperation, if one should say. Because once the higher-ups touched these people's bottom line, there was no doubt that what awaited them would be a huge backlash because neither of them would be willing to back down and be used by others so easily. So far, even Samuel was the same. Even if Samuel knew that the higher-ups were allowing his father to become City Abase's head and also gave him considerable freedom, They wanted him to do many things for them. These things were their request in the cooperation between the two parties. Samuel listened to some of them, but he would not be the sword that the higher-ups could move as they wished. If they wanted him to do troublesome things, then he had the right to refuse. If the higher-ups forced him to do it while threatening his family, it was estimated that their negotiation might turn very bloody. Who would like to be threatened by others? Samuel didn't like it, and Mr. Jones also knew that. But the higher-ups would definitely pay more attention to Samuel's family, and when it was truly necessary, it was not impossible for them to threaten Samuel with him. So Mr. Jones has always been trying to get stronger and made himself has more importance. Because only in this way would it be possible for him to protect his family better. And now, there was another chip that the higher-ups could use when facing Rhea. It would not be a pleasant thing for her. As expected of you, Mr. A. Mr. Jones chuckled and crossed his arms. But I guess you should also give some sweetness for them to be willing to work for you? That girl is not much better than your son when talking about trade. Mr. A shook his head. I think that he's influencing her badly. With how black-bellied Samuel is, Mr. A felt that Rhea, who was getting close to Samuel, would be infected by that man. Because the request she made was getting more and more greedy, just like a certain black-hearted businessman. We're a businessman, and a businessman will not do business without any profit, Mr. Jones said calmly. Mr. A. Well, like father, like son. The two of them were indeed very similar to each other, and for this matter, Mr. Jones was really speechless. In any case, that girl's research result is quite surprising even for us. We'll not be stingy to support people who truly have talent and ability, Mr. A said calmly. Even without Rhea's existence, they would not be willing to let someone with talent to be buried. You will still give more preferences just because of her existence, Mr. Jones said calmly. Mr. A smiled. Naturally. The two men stopped talking after this. They understood very well that they were just cooperating with each other, and this was good enough. Meanwhile, Ruby didn't know anything about the conversation between these two people about her. She was now protected as there were bodyguards around her, and Ruby felt helpless. But it was not bad. At least, these people would not disturb her when she was busy with her own research. In the next few days, Ruby fully understood what Mr. Jones meant. Manai and Professor Dit were reported to the higher-ups, and the two of them were suspended from work. This made the two of them angry and annoyed, but there was nothing that they could do. On the other hand, Ruby was able to get the recognition, and her research request was also approved easily. The resources were given to her, and with this, Ruby could do a lot more research in the future. This made Ruby very happy. So she spent the next few days fully absorbed in her research. Rhea and Samuel didn't know about the commotion that happened outside. The two of them were still exploring the crack and went deeper and deeper. There were many magic beasts that attacked them, which slowed down their progress significantly, because they had to rest to recover their mana before continuing their exploration. Otherwise, it would be impossible for the two of them to go deeper into the crack and fulfill their intention in coming here. Thanks to these magic beasts' corpse, Samuel was advancing very quickly. And Rhea herself also got a lot of resources. She could make dozens of rank 5 formation with these and didn't have to trouble herself to make the mana essence from the rank 4 magic beast's blood anymore. How long are we going to go? Samuel asked when he saw that the terrain had changed once again. They have experienced the ordinary area, followed by the frozen land. The temperature kept on dropping, and if it was not because of their strength, they would never be able to make it this far. It's not far. Rhea looked at the front and then smiled faintly. It's here. Here? Samuel raised his head to look in the direction Rhea was looking at, and then his expression froze. What is that?
Chapter 448, Formation.
The terrain in this area was really cold, and the ground had started to be slippery since 2 days ago. The fact that they have been staying in the crack for days was something that both of them knew. After all, they still keep track of time more or less through the clock and their own phone. As for how the phones still operate, they charged it themselves. With their control over their lightning element, it was nothing much to charge a phone and all. Even if there was no internet, they could still see the time. The time might not be accurate because it was not synced for a long time, but it was good enough to gauge how long they have been here. At the very least, they have been here for half a month. And the world within the crack had long made the two of them wary. Just from the change of the temperature to the large increase of strength from these magic beasts, it was more than enough to tell them the danger in this crack. Now, is this a crystal world? Samuel asked. A few steps away from them, the grounds were all crystal clear as if it was made of ice and crystal. It looked very beautiful yet also seemed out of place. It's not cold. Rhea touched the surface on the ground and then walked forward. Wait, are you not worried that there will be some traps? The jade dolls have already come here before. In other words, she had already scouted ahead. Samuel? Sorry, I seem to forget about it. The two of them walked into the crystal areas and then saw a few magic beasts roaming around. These magic beasts didn't seem to notice the two of them and instead looking to the front. That's a cave. There's another pillar inside and I want to study the formation first, Rhea replied. She had already seen part of the formation from the jade doll and knew that there wouldn't be any danger even if she went inside. However, she didn't know how long it would take, so she would like to trouble Samuel to clean up the magic beasts around. After all, if they were to disturb her when she was inside, it would be very troublesome. All right, I'll clean up the nearby magic beasts. Samuel nodded when he heard Rhea's words. Isn't it just cleaning up some magic beasts? He's good at it. Swish, slash, roar. The magic beasts were instantly attracted by Samuel, and at this moment, Rhea sneaked in. This cave was somewhat similar to the previous two caves, but also different at the same time. The size was larger and there were a few more runes carved on the wall. Rhea had noticed the difference, which was why she was wary and didn't make a move first. The magic beasts who lingered outside should also sense the danger, which was why they didn't dare to come inside. But this formation didn't seem to trigger when I enter it. Rhea looked around and started studying the formation. The special magic core in the pillar was indeed very attractive, and Rhea could sense that it was a rank 6 special magic core. Just taking one of it might allow her to reach the late stage of rank 5. But Rhea had to focus on the matter on hand first. If the formation triggered instantly after the special magic core was taken away, then she would have nowhere to cry to. Bang! Slash! Amidst the chaos outside, Rhea studied the formation quickly and thoroughly. It was only after she understood everything that she stopped and walked out. At this moment, the battle was over and Samuel was standing while leaning against the wall. There was a large roasted meat on his hand and he was busy munching on it. It seemed that this was indeed the fastest way for him to replenish his energy. Your body is getting bulkier, Rhea commented. It couldn't be helped. I'm rank 5, Samuel replied. When I reach rank 7, I'll go back to my previous appearance. To be honest, Samuel liked his previous appearance better, because he didn't look like a warrior in the slightest bit, which would not make him stand out. Rhea chuckled and nodded. When Magic Warrior reached rank 7, their appearance would change back and looked like when they were young. It was also similar to magicians because their appearance would look younger. Of course, they could offset this by using their mana. But why not? Isn't it interesting to look harmless while in truth they were not that harmless? Come inside. I'll explain the formation. Samuel arched his eyebrows. Are you sure that you want to explain it to me and not to the higher-ups? He didn't have thorough understanding about formation. Even if Rhea were to tell him many things, Samuel doubted that he would be able to understand. Rhea passed a look at Samuel and said, Don't worry. I won't tell you the name of the formation and their specific terms. I'm only telling you the brief explanation about the formation. Samuel nodded when he heard that. This was better. At least he could still understand one or two things. As for others, sorry, he was not capable enough. There are a total of 12 pillars, Rhea said as she walked towards the pillar in the middle. And I suspect that the one who made these pillars are not human being because some of the strokes were impossible to be made by humans. Samuel was stunned. Did it mean that there were other intelligent creatures in the crack? I have seen the formation in the first 2 pillars and they were very similar. After seeing this pillar, I noticed a few other formation and realized what kind of formation it is. Rhea looked at the pillars and pursed her lips. It's the 12 pillars from the World Fusion and Mana Integration Formation. Samuel? Sorry, can you explain more about it to me? Chapter 449. The World Fusion and Mana Integration Formation. Rhea knew that Samuel didn't understand, so she simply continued. The World Fusion and Mana Integration Formation is a special formation. It's a formation that could either be used to fuse two completely different worlds or to awaken the mana within a planet to accelerate their process. Hearing this, Samuel understood what Rhea meant. The main reason why the green planet had sudden surge of mana should be attributed by this formation. Wait, this crack is within the green planet? Yes and no. Rhea pursed her lips. It could be said that the two worlds are overlapping right now because of this formation. If the formation is destroyed, then the crack theoretically will disappear. Theoretically? Yes, theoretically, because once a world fusion happens, it's almost impossible to separate them again. Just destroying the formation alone is not enough. Besides, do you really think that a mere rank 9 can destroy such a large formation? Rhea shook her head. The defense of this formation is higher than rank 9. Samuel's eyes narrowed when he heard that. But if they wanted to advance above rank 9? Forget it, he had never even reached rank 8 because he fell when he was at rank 7. Advancing to rank 8 and then rank 9 alone was already going to be very difficult. Even if they have some ideas about what they needed to advance through the rest of the ranks, it would have to wait until they truly reached that point to test it out. Exploring the path ahead and researching many things, it could be said that their future path would be filled with many trial and errors. It would be impossible to reach such height in such a short period of time. Is it not possible to destroy it when one reach rank 9? Samuel asked. You know that some people's attack power at the same rank can be different, right? He was referring to himself. As a magic warrior who was famous for his offense power, Samuel felt that if it was necessary, it was not impossible for him to defeat those of the same ranks through pure attack power. Rhea glanced at Samuel and shook her head. I only said that the defense power is higher than rank 9. When you're rank 3, can you defeat someone at rank 4? When he was rank 3, can he defeat someone who was at rank 4? Samuel opened his mouth and then closed it again, frowning to think about it. Because Samuel knew very well that every 3 ranks represented a completely different realm, and the improvement one had when they advanced to rank 4 from rank 3 was huge. So the gap between rank 9 to rank 10. You're saying that the gap is so big that it's impossible for people below the rank to destroy it? Samuel asked back. Yes. Rhea nodded as she looked at the runes and formation in front of her. There was a trace of fascination yet helplessness within her eyes alongside longing. For a Runemaster, being able to study runes and learned many of them has become her long-cherished dream. She wanted to learn more runes and possibly create the greatest runes and formation in the entire world. It is her dream. Samuel saw the look in Rhea's eyes and smiled helplessly, somewhat dotingly. You can study the formation here if you want to. I just need to make sure that the magic beasts wouldn't get close. Nah. Rhea shook her head. The formation in this place is nothing more than a small branch of the entire big formation. Even if I want to study it, I can't do it right now. Huh? What do you mean? I'll explain to you later, Rhea replied, and her finger tapped on the air as mana surged and runes started to form around Rhea. Samuel frowned but didn't make a move as he watched Rhea made formation out of nowhere. He looked at the runes around him and saw that they didn't seem to have any reaction. 1 second, 2 seconds, and so on. Time passed quietly, and after 10 seconds, Rhea stopped with a sphere in her hand, a sphere consisting of countless runes. At this moment, the runes around them seemed to shine slightly as if responding to Rhea. This is the prototype of the runes and formation in this room. To be exact, this is the miniature version. Rhea replied with a smile as she played with the formation in her hand. Of course, the power is far from comparable, and I only show this to demonstrate. Samuel looked at Rhea curiously. Try to use a rank 3 power to destroy it. Rhea raised her hand and beckoned for Samuel to attack. Samuel arched his eyebrows, and then his mana surged before he slashed forward with his sword. Clang! Something seemed to stop him, and Samuel's hands trembled. He looked at the formation with suspicion and then asked, "Is this a rank 3 formation?" "No, this is rank 4, Rhea replied. "I don't need such a long time to make a rank 3 formation." "Samuel?" He was sure that if Reuben were to hear Rhea's words, he would feel despair once more. His teacher was too outstanding, and as student the pressure was really great. What Rhea could do within moments were something that Reuben might not be able to do in his entire life. It was truly... Samuel sighed and then said, "Can I try once more with the limit of rank 3 power I can muster?" Rhea smiled and raised her hand. "Sure." Taking a deep breath, Samuel urged his mana to his sword, and only after the entire sword was covered in lightning did he move. Slash! Clang! The small formation sphere trembled for a moment, but the attack was completely deflected, with nothing remain in place. Samuel looked at the sphere in silence and then turned to look at Rhea. "It seems that if you were to make this, I'll never be able to defeat you." Chapter 450. The World Fusion and Mana Integration Formation 2. "Rhea, is that the point?" She looked at Samuel speechlessly and then shook her head. "It's impossible for me to use this in combat." Reason. 1. It took too long to form even one. 2nd, this damn thing consumed a lot of mana to maintain, and I don't want to waste my mana. Rhea replied, and with a wave of her hand, the small formation sphere disappeared. Besides, this kind of formation is not suitable for combat because the range depends on how much mana you're willing to invest. Even for magicians, the large amount of mana will be too much for them, unless you're willing to use a lot of magic cores or mana stones to make it. Samuel nodded in understanding. A good combat ability didn't only require sufficient power but also the resources to support it. If they were to force themselves to use such a move that was clearly self-defeating, then they would be stupid. Anyway, this formation is backed by a lot of mana and there's no problem to run for years, Rhea said. In other words, it's impossible to destroy. Samuel sighed. By the time someone reached rank 9, it'll be too late to stop the world's fusion. Rhea patted the pillar and sighed. Also, there are 8 outer pillars and 4 inner pillars. The previous 2 pillars that we found on the outer edge were the outer pillars, and this is one of the inner pillar. The inner pillar required more mana to operate and also located deeper in the crack. Unless they have reached rank 5 and had prepared a lot of things, no one would be able to reach it in a short term. Samuel nodded. After Rhea knew that this was the World Fusion and Mana Integration Formation, she definitely knew the structure of the formation well. Is this a rank 10 formation? Yes, you can say that. Can you make it? Rhea. She looked at Samuel blankly as if asking, "Are you seriously asking that question to me? I have never reached rank 10, so I'm not even qualified to try making it. I only know the theories, and this formation had more than 100,000 branches. How many years do you think I'll need to make this formation?" Rhea retorted. Samuel shut up wisely. He knew that if he were to mention about this matter again, Rhea might snap up at him. But years to make this formation? Who would do it and why? Also, in order for the World Fusion and Mana Integration Formation, the 12 pillars have to be connected to a medium. Medium? Yes, the World Fusion and Mana Integration Formation basically will allow the world to fuse, so you need something that can bridge the 2 worlds. Rhea thought for a moment and felt that her thoughts before was truly connected at this moment, and then said, "In short, there are 12 returnees in total, as each of you represent the pillars." Samuel looked at Rhea solemnly. "Does it mean that if we're not in the green planet, the fusion will stop?" Unfortunately, no. Rhea could guess what Samuel was thinking and said, "The medium is only needed to activate the formation, so the moment the formation is activated, the medium is no longer necessary." Their usefulness had ended from the moment they returned to the green planet. Hearing this, Samuel sighed. When they were sent to that world, they were only ordinary humans. What could ordinary humans do to prevent themselves to be sent to that world? Nothing. They could only wait and pray silently. "Is there anything special about the returnees?" Samuel asked. Well, all the pillars had to represent different paths, so the main reason why each of us are chosen should be related to the profession we are most talented in, Ria replied. Or to be exact, the extreme advancement of a certain profession. Because all of them basically went to the extreme on one path. Physical path, magic path, and even the side profession could be dug to the point that it became the main profession instead. Samuel nodded, though not quite understanding. Ria also didn't explain further to Samuel, and she looked at the pillar in front of her. This is my pillar. It represents the magic and the runes. Do you want to destroy it? I can't. Oh. Seeing Samuel's look, Ria chuckled in amusement. The formation is simply too strong, so it's impossible for me to destroy it. But I know that I can take this special magic core, and the time limit for the formation to activate is too long. Are you not afraid that you'll attract the person who made the formation? If Samuel counted right, Ria should have taken the special magic core more than once and probably did it several times.
No.
Ria shook her head. Whoever made the world fusion and mana integration formation had to stay in the very middle once it was activated. It had to be done until the two worlds are completely integrated, which will take a few years, but even if we come to him or her, the world fusion couldn't be stopped. And if my guess is right, the shape of this world fusion and mana integration formation is that of a spear. In that case, I can guess the location of other formations and pillars. Samuel nodded. Even if we kill that person who made it, this world fusion and mana integration formation can't be stopped?
No.
Ria knew what Samuel was thinking. At the center of the world fusion and mana integration formation, there will be a barrier, a protective barrier. The person who made this formation had to stay there for years or possibly even decades until the two worlds completely fuse and the barrier will disappear. Barrier? Samuel frowned. Ria glanced at Samuel and added, the strength of the barrier is the same as the strength of the entire formation. So unless you have the power to destroy the entire formation, you can't destroy the barrier. Chapter 451. The World Fusion and Mana Integration Formation 3. In other words, he's unkillable. At least until the entire world's integration was finished. It's that troublesome? Samuel was speechless and then said, Runemasters are really buggy. To have the strength of the entire formation protecting him or her. Samuel felt that whoever wanted to fight will definitely feel despair from the bottom of their heart. It was to the point that they would rather wave the white flag to show their surrender than fighting head-on. Really? Ria laughed when she heard that. Haven't you found out about it for a long time? Ria came closer to Samuel and stuck her face close to his. Well, there was still the distance of their height. But from this position, she could see his face clearly. We Runemasters are the master of cheating. Samuel narrowed his eyes and stretched his hand to pinch Ria's nose that was close to him. Huh? Who do you want to cheat? Ria? She had the feeling that the cheating she meant here was different from what Samuel understood. I mean cheating as in we can use more resource. Hey, stop pinching my nose. Samuel chuckled and released his finger. The sound Ria made when her nose was pinched was really cute. Cough. Seeing her angry look, Samuel could only show a helpless and pitiful look. Ria blinked her eyes and for some reason, she felt that Samuel looked like a big dog with its ear folded after making mistake. Did I spend so much time with Sophia to the point that I'm now comparing a person with a dog? After all, the only dog Ria came in contact frequently was only Melly, Sophia's dog. Don't look at me like that, Ria complained and then jumped back. She turned around to look at the runes and quickly said, Runemaster can use various resources during their battle and not limited to the mana inside our bodies like ordinary magicians or warrior who are basically using their vitality. Of course, they can also use other weapons and even use the magic scrolls, but the number will definitely not comparable to that of a Runemaster. Samuel smiled slightly when he saw Ria's reaction and he nodded. I know. It was precisely because a Runemaster had many means up on their sleeve that they were known as the most troublesome opponent. At least, the rich Runemasters would be hard to deal with. But poor Runemaster. Unless they could reach Ria's rank where they could use runes as easily as normal magic spell and even create a self-sufficient protective rune circle, it could be said that they would not be that hard to deal with. At least for Samuel, they were not that hard. I'm not that strong, though. Rhea had calmed down and looked at Samuel once more. That kind of formation is basically using the entire resources of this world in order to form it, and if you want to destroy the entire formation, it's not an exaggeration to say that you want to destroy the entire world. Destroy the entire world. Samuel was stunned, and he looked around before saying with difficulties, "This place is bigger than the green planet, right?" The green planet alone was already very big, and if they wanted to destroy the entire green planet, they would need to reach rank 10. To destroy this place, Samuel didn't know how strong he needed to be. "Yes," Rhea replied without hesitation. They have already traveled in the crack for a month and met with various magic beasts and saw various terrains. Could be said that the entire crack is a completely new world. A very complete underground world where countless magic beasts thrived and live well. "It's really a nightmare mission," Samuel muttered under his breath. "Be careful of being buried alive if you were to go on rampage," Rhea added teasingly. They were now underground, and even if she could make teleportation formation, she needed time to make it. After all, she's not rank 7 Runemaster yet. If she had reached that rank, she could easily teleport from one place to another. "TSK. I know, Samuel said helplessly. The two of them looked at the pillar not far from them, and Samuel asked, "Why do you say that this is your pillar?" "Could be anyone's pillar, right? Because I can sense the faint connection. The connection that was made when the formation was activated, and then these people will be sent to that world," Rhea replied. The pillars had to be activated in sequence, and this pillar is not the first nor the last. It meant that the time when she traveled to that world was in the middle. Samuel is earlier than her, and Rhea was not sure about the others. "Connection," Samuel muttered and looked at the pillar in front of him. No wonder that Rhea said that this is her pillar. The information that Rhea could obtain was very limited, but even with that, Rhea managed to deduce a lot of things. He was not sure about the faint connection that Rhea meant, and it might be related to the fact she's a Runemaster. Because if it was him, he couldn't really sense anything from these pillars. "So, do you want to find the person? Or whoever it is who made this formation?" "Not now, but in the future, yes." Rhea wanted to know the purpose of making this formation, because she knew very well that the world fusion and mana integration formation is not a formation that was easy to make. There were a lot of branches that they had to make in order to cover up the entire world, and then the preparation to select the 12 pillars as the connection. If even one of them failed, then the entire world would be destroyed and the formation would fail to activate. But it did, which meant that all 12 returnees returned safely within the time needed for the formation to activate. Moreover, sacrificing one's freedom for the sake of making the world fusion and mana integration formation. Is it worth it? Chapter 452. Competitor. Rhea didn't know what the person who arranged the world fusion and mana integration formation was thinking. But she knew that this person has to be very strong. And there had to be an extremely special reason why this world fusion and mana integration formation has to be made. For the two worlds to be merged together, the impact is not small. The surge of mana in the green planet, the cracks that appeared to connect the two worlds, the destroyed terrain, and the death of countless magic beasts. Everything completely overturned the situation on both worlds. Be it the green planet or this place, everything was changed drastically and dragged everyone to follow with this destructive pace. And the formation didn't arrange for the person who took the special magic core to be directly killed, which meant that he or she had long arranged for us to take it, Rhea said slowly. But whether we could keep it after trying to take it is another question. Samuel nodded. With the magic beasts chasing after them right after they took the special magic core, it would be hard for them to escape if they were not prepared. I feel like we're being played by whoever made this formation, Samuel commented. Being played? Rhea looked at Samuel speechlessly and then retorted. You speak as if that person is so bored. To be able to make this kind of formation, there's no way that you have no purpose. Who would be so bored to make the formation and lead them to play around like this? Even if they had reached advanced age, the amount of resources and time needed to make the formation, from planning to drawing, and then activation and watching over it was by no means small. No idiot would be willing to spend so much time doing such a thankless thing. At least, Ria would never be willing to do this. Yes, but I feel that the purpose might not be that bad, Samuel said and reached out his hand to rub Ria's head. Ria was stunned by Samuel's move and looked at Samuel quietly. Don't treat me like you treat your sister. I didn't. Samuel blinked his eyes. If it was his sister, Amelia would have run away the moment he raised his hand. Because Amelia was absolutely sure that Samuel was there to catch the sister who was running away from home again. And Ria definitely had better reflex than his sister. So did she not avoid his hand on purpose? Samuel's eyes narrowed slightly when he thought about this. Well, whatever the purpose, we'll figure it out later, Ria said and took a step back once more. Being too close to Samuel didn't seem to be a good idea. Even though they were discussing about a serious matter, her mind couldn't help but wander around. TSK, don't you have any guesses? Samuel asked as he looked at the formation in front of them. Rather than playing, does it help us to clean up the magic beasts? Clean up the magic beasts? The fact that after the special magic core was taken away there will be a large number of magic beasts dying was not exactly a secret. After trying it once, everyone will know about it. Though, there was a limit to how many times the special magic cores can be taken from one place. If Ria had to say, it might be for the sake of balance. Once there was not enough magic beasts around to make up for the required mana, it was estimated that the crack itself will be destroyed. At that time, she herself didn't know whether it would also destroy their world that was connected through the cracks. After all, she had never seen this formation before. The world fusion and mana integration formation was not exactly a secret formation, but it was a very complicated formation and rarely used. After all, who would want to merge two completely different worlds spanning across dimension or thousands of light years away? No one would be stupid enough to do anything like that. Unless they have a reason why they had to do this. Rather than helping us to clean up the magic beasts, the formation will drag most of the magic beasts out of their comfort zone and force them to fight, Ria said helplessly. Otherwise, we won't be running away all the time when the special magic cores are taken away. You're right. The two of them were definitely very proficient in terms of running away in the crack by now. After all, they have experienced it a few times. These magic beasts really loved them, but they had no interest to play around with the magic beasts. Well, that's just a guess. Samuel shrugged, not very concerned about it. No matter what awaited them ahead, he just had to deal with it. While he might be curious about what the purpose of the person who built this world fusion and mana integration formation, he knew that the clue were not enough for them to deduce the real purpose. At the very least, they knew that whoever made the world fusion and mana integration formation would not come out to trouble them personally. This is a good thing, because if they have to face a rank 10 magicians when they were only rank 5, there was no doubt that they would turn into mincemeat in an instant. There was simply no comparison with them. Yes, Ria nodded and thought about something else. There's another thing that I'm thinking about the formation. Yes. Other returnees should be able to find the outer formation and might take the special magic core too. Ria chuckled. In this way, we have a lot of competitors. Who's afraid of them? Samuel rolled his eyes. If they dare to come, I'll hack them down with sword. One last thing, the formation should be near the places where these returnees are located. At least some of them. Chapter 453. Competitor. 2. Samuel instantly thought about Dina Alden and Jonas Nolan. These two people were still categorized as magicians, and if they were to be close to the places where the special magic core existed, there was no doubt that they would take it for themselves. Are you sure about it? Samuel asked for confirmation. Well, I can't be 100% sure, but it should be 80%, Ria replied. Because the formation required the medium, and when it's activated, it should be near the place where we're located. If she was not wrong, above this place should be the shop where she met with that woman. But it might be a bit far because many of their paths were descending below. It really looked like a complete underground world with several floors. When Ria came here, she had noticed that there were many turns that let them come down just like a building. Samuel nodded. If this was the case, The other returnees should also take their chance to get the special magic cores, because this was basically an item that would allow them to advance through ranks so quickly. He himself didn't really need it because it would cause an imbalance in his path as a magic warrior. But what about other? Not mentioning the magicians who would definitely be tempted by the increase of their mana. Some magic warriors didn't really care about the fact that their mana was not balanced and would rather take this shortcut. After all, it was a very tempting offer. In that case, there will really be a lot of opponents, Samuel commented, but his tone was not worried at all. He's confident in his ability that he would be able to surpass these people with his ability and strength. What is there to worry about with his own progress? It might not be the fastest, but he had to make sure that he was still at the forefront. Are you not worried? Rhea laughed when she heard Samuel's tone. What should I worry about? Samuel asked back. That they managed to reach rank 7 earlier than me and then made trouble with me? If it was before, I might be worried, but the current world situation would not allow them to mess around. They have competed a lot in that world and fought countless times. It was to the point that Samuel felt annoyed when he thought about those annoying guys and girls. But with their background and their own reasons, they were really not afraid of each other. Even if one of them managed to advance faster, the other would only think of hiding for a while to advance and then compete again. It was especially true for Peter, who had no hesitation to offend almost everyone. Well, more like, he competed with almost everyone whom he felt worthy. If they didn't want to die, that's it, Samuel added after a while. The green planet was different from that world. They could act recklessly in that world to a certain degree because they knew that they were the younger generation, and there will be the older generation who would help them to clean up the messes. It was to the point that there would be no problem even if they were to cause a lot of troubles and possibly destroy a few islands. Those old guys would only think that they were naughty and said nothing. But in the green planet, it was estimated that they would be condemned by others and possibly jointly arranged to be dealt with. This was because their position was different. They were at the forefront of all magic warriors, magicians, and warriors all over the world. The first line of defense against these magic beasts were them, and it was impossible for them to act recklessly without caring about anything. The environment here would not allow them to act so blatantly. What if they destroy their own planet and unable to live here? None of them would be willing to destroy the world they have known for so many years and the convenience that they had received in this world. That earthquake had already destroyed many of their routines. There was no need to add more. I feel as if you're saying that they love the green planet very much, Rhea said with a laugh and then nodded. Then again, not everyone is a lone wolf who didn't care about anything and could live on their own. How many people could actually live by themselves without talking to anyone? It was estimated that he or she would become crazy because of this, and even if they have already trained their mind to be stronger than ordinary people, it would not be easy for them to live in complete seclusion. Even for introvert, not talking to anyone for so many years might also drive them crazy. These returnees definitely didn't want to live on their own without having anyone to contact, so they would restrain themselves to a certain degree. As much as they hated others, they were not willing to kill other returnees, unless it was absolutely necessary. Yes, for the sake of balance, it's better for everyone to live, Samuel said calmly. Of course, if someone dares to come and provoke me, then I would not hesitate to slash him into two. His swords had no eyes. If he had to face people who didn't have any eyes and wanted to provoke him, Samuel would not hesitate to use his sword and slash the other party into two. Even if that person is a returnee, it would not be an exception. All the grudges in that world should be settled there and not be brought here, Samuel said slowly. Of course, small matter has to be settled. Rhea chuckled and laughed out loud when she heard this. She felt that these people were all very childish. Clearly, some of them have life and death grudge when they were in that world, all right? Chapter 454. You, forget it. Stop laughing so much. Samuel looked at Rhea helplessly. He didn't tell her this just so that she could laugh at them. Sorry. Rhea was trying her best to restrain her smile, but the corner of her lips couldn't help but turn upwards. I was actually thinking that you hate Murin so much that you want to kill him, but I think that you keep your hands when you see him. I have already killed one of his pets in that world. Samuel shrugged. Besides, the one who killed him in the end is not me. He had no interest to kill Murin if the other party didn't provoke him. Wait, Murin did provoke him, but that provocation was too low level and Samuel was too lazy to deal with the other party. As annoying as Murin is, Samuel also knew that his ability was very useful when dealing with the magic beasts. Murin is a beast master and his control over the magic beasts might even turn the situation around at critical moment, Samuel said slowly. Of course, the requirement is that he's truly in our side. Rhea looked at Samuel blankly. Do you really think that he'll be on your side after you have killed his magic beasts? If it was her, she felt that she might not be willing to forgive any of these people who have killed her family members. For beast masters, their magic beasts were their family members and also their source of strength. The contract between the magic beasts and human allowed them to harness the power of their magic beasts. Once their magic beasts died, the power that was shared would also be taken away. It was also because of this that Murin eventually died in that world. Without any powerful magic beasts to protect him, he's far weaker than ordinary magicians of the same rank. And his rank has plummeted with his magic beast's death. What awaited him in the end was nothing more than his own death.
No.
He'll definitely make trouble when he's seeing me or the others, Samuel said in affirmative tone. But it didn't mean that I'll follow his lead. Rhea, whatever makes you happy. Samuel saw Rhea's speechless look and smile. Don't you have any interaction with him before or perhaps some grudge? After all, his goal was quite outrageous and could affect the stability of the world. That's not true. Rhea titled her head and then said, While I have heard his case, I'm not familiar with it. Besides, I'm not worried about his plan that would definitely not succeed. If so many powerful magic warriors could be defeated by a mere rank 7 magic beasts, I'll laugh at them for an entire year. There were many old figures in that world who had become legends. Some of them had passed away because of various reasons, but many of them were still alive and well, doing everything they could to make sure that the world remained stable. The disappearance and appearance of a few valleys, hills, mountains, and so on couldn't even disturb them. So what about Murin's movement? The flute of beast can indeed control a lot of magic beasts at the same time and affect their mind. But do you really think that it's unlimited? Even an artifact had limits to what it could do, and the limit of the flute of beast is Murin's own strength, Rhea said calmly. The flute of beast might be a powerful artifact that was coveted by who knows how many people. If it was not because only beast masters could use the artifact well, there would be countless people coming to steal it. Then again, there were still many people with such ideas, and Rhea could guess that Murin should be busy dealing with them. How do you know so much? Samuel asked with suspicion. If he was not wrong, there was no way the Magic Beasts Association would be willing to disclose such a thing to others, right? After all, this involved their secret that could affect their own lifeline. No one would be stupid enough to tell their weakness to others. Rhea smiled kindly at Samuel. Samuel, are you stupid or pretending to be stupid? Weapon refiner usually work with Runemaster for some delicate craftsmanship, and for a tool that could reach the rank of artifact, Runemasters are indispensable. In other words, the Flute of Beasts also contains specific runes. But the complicatedness of the runes and the delicate engraving into the magic tools was something that Rhea couldn't achieve on her own. Thinking about the fact that her own attempt to make gun parts before ended in such disaster, Rhea didn't really want to talk about her refining ability. She really had to work together with a professional if she wanted to make a really good weapon. Besides, the reason why she knew about this was because this was one of the materials discussed in class back then. Cough. Rhea was sure that the Magic Beasts Association didn't know that they were used as example in the Runemaster Association. Otherwise, it would be impossible for them to remain harmonious with each other. Samuel? No, he really didn't pay attention to this. After all, he only knew that refining weapon required a lot of valuable treasures, but he forgot that it was also important to let Runemaster to help. Oh, you didn't know? Rhea seemed to realize something when she saw Samuel's expressions. You, forget it. Samuel sighed and felt that he didn't really want to talk about this matter with Rhea anymore. The magic beasts might return soon. Let's go back now. Well, wait a minute. Ria walked out of the cave and then took out a large number of rank 5 magic beasts' blood. She then started to draw on the surface of the crystal using her mana and the rank 5 magic beast's blood. Samuel stood on the side. Chapter 455. Run away. He knew that she was making a formation. As for what kind of formation it is, he didn't know. Before long, Ria was done and then she moved to the side. All right, I'll take it now. Samuel looked at the bloody mark on the ground that slowly dissipated as if there was nothing there and arched his eyebrows. It seemed that this should be the concealing method of formation for many Runemaster. No wonder no one would be able to know if a Runemaster were to place the formation secretly. They could hide it. He turned around and saw Ria took out the special magic core and put it away. Time to run. Are you not going to use that formation? No, that's for next time. The special magic core should be regenerated in 1 month and I can come back at that time, Ria replied. Samuel looked at the formation and silently felt that with Ria, she basically tried to take advantage of these formations to the fullest. The habit of taking advantage when possible didn't seem to be a good thing. But strangely enough, Samuel only wanted to laugh when he thought about Ria's appearance and expression. This girl is really naughty. Is it fine? Why not? I mean, wouldn't you worry that taking advantage of these formations will destroy the balance in the crack? Don't worry. At most there will be more magic beasts dying. Samuel chuckled. Well, who would care even if a large number of magic beasts died? Because for the people in the Green Planet, to be able to kill more magic beasts meant that their lives would be much safer in the future. In that case, who didn't want it? At least they wanted to. The two of them continued to run as fast as possible. Thankfully, they have basically recovered after taking a short rest and now, they only needed to run away. Before long, they heard roaring from the back followed by the familiar suction feeling. I have the feeling that we seem to have experienced this several times, Samuel commented. Well, it had happened a few times. Ria coughed guiltily. Will this attract higher-ranked magic beasts to the surface? Samuel suddenly asked another question. Even when he was running, he seemed to remember something and frowned. This method of attracting magic beasts didn't seem to be a good thing for most people on the Green Planet. After all, aside from the few returnees, their strength was a bit worrying. If there were no returnees protecting them, they would have died several times in the past. Now that the magic beasts were attracted by the formation that was triggered after taking the special magic core, Samuel suddenly wondered whether the number of magic beasts would increase again. If it was only rank 1 to 3 magic beasts, he would not be that worried. But what if there were break 6 or even rank 7? The entire Green Planet will be in danger. That, I don't know. Perhaps they will. Samuel frowned when he thought about the strength of these magic beasts. When rank 4 and above magic beasts appeared on the surface, the other people in the Green Planet would be the one to suffer. This is not a good thing. What do you plan to do if a rank 6 or rank 7 magic beast were to appear? Samuel asked. Run away. Ria couldn't defeat them, so she will definitely run away. She was not so stupid that she would challenge the rank 6 or rank 7 magic beasts when she saw them. Knowing her own strength, Ria would rather run away when she couldn't defeat the opponent. That's a good idea. Samuel also nodded. I plan to injure them and then run away when there's a chance. It's not so easy to injure a rank 6 magic beast, Ria retorted. True. What if you can't run away? The atmosphere turned somewhat tenser when Samuel asked this and Ria's expressions also darkened. To be honest, Ria was not exactly a person who would be willing to sacrifice her life for the sake of other people's lives, because she knew very well that there was no point in dying. Then I'll fight to the end, Ria replied. Her tone was light. She had done that in the past and she will do it again if it was necessary. But I won't die so easily. It was like a promise yet also a statement at the same time. MHM. The two of them were still able to chat as they ran along the corridor. Well, Samuel was basically controlling his speed to match Ria since she's weaker than him. Suddenly, the two of them braked and looked at the darkness in front of them. The area within the crack was already dark enough, but right now, it was even darker, as if there was a shadow covering up everything. The two of them knew that a magic beast is definitely here. Swish! Bang! A shadow creature jumped up but bumped on Riya's protective circle runes. She had long set it up again, and it will protect her. The moment the first shadow creature appeared, several more appeared. Slash! Slash! Samuel quickly swung his sword and looked at the group of shadow creatures that came out. There's a lich. Riya's expression was distorted. She should have never mentioned about lich in the first place. Now, she could see that these shadow creatures were all under one order. Who else could order the shadow creature but the lich? Be careful! Bang! City Base. The matter of Ruby was just over when Mr. Jones received another report. He was stumped and nearly ran out of the office. His daughter was attacked, and the person who attacked her was someone whom Mr. Jones would never expect in his entire life. Not only that, he saw the case file on his table and realized that the matter seemed to have gotten out of control. Chapter 456. I Want Your Life. The spread of the methods for demonic magicians to train has long spread. In City Base, there would be 1 out of 10 people who tried to practice it secretly. Even if they didn't have much talent or resources, it was really easy for them to convert their practice. This made them happy. What they didn't know was that from the moment they walked on this path, there would not be any turning back. Demonic magicians are not only magicians who learned forbidden technique. There are many methods that a demonic magician could choose from, starting from the ordinary blood essence path, which is essential, taking the blood essence from the magic beasts, to the more exclusive path such as the method of the mind. Magicians didn't only have to increase their mana but also their state of mind. Because once they reached rank 4, they had to start to hone their understanding to learn various magic skills. The demonic magicians are unique in a way that there's a method to forcefully increase one's comprehension. But if you want to learn this method, you have to be prepared. These were all written in the website and many people read about it. But after they read to the end, many people felt that it was unacceptable. The hell? Killing the people whom you love. Is it even possible that the person who made this method is crazy? Some people who had seen this paragraph chose to take a step back. Because if they have to kill their own family members or those whom they loved, they felt that they couldn't do it. They cared for their friends and families. Would they abandon it all for the sake of power? Many of them couldn't do it. But some others decided to do it. And this is the beginning of the chaos. Many people in various bases started to conduct a terrifying operation as they chased after the people whom they used to say caring and love words to. What started as beautiful story turned into horror story. It was chaotic everywhere. And in order to curb people's desire to become a demonic magician, the official bases were forced to implement strict rule. Everyone who practiced this method will be forced out of the base without exception. Many of them were also killed, and those who reported the demonic magician will be given 10 contribution points. So next, there were a large number of people who died. City Base was not spared. The outer area became chaotic for a day before it was forcefully suppressed by the military, and those who became demonic magicians were all kicked out of the base. They were told that only City J accepted demonic magicians. So these people who became demonic magician had no other choice but to leave in that direction. Some bases didn't even bother to kick them out and simply killed everyone. Blood flowed like river. The higher-ups were also busy confronting Dina about this matter. But the two sides could not come to any conclusion. Can they move Dina? No. Their abilities were not strong enough to deal with Dina. Moreover, they also knew that Dina was able to become so strong because she had taken a lot of blood essence from these magic beasts. This made them conflicted whether they should deal with Dina immediately or not. The only good thing was that Ruth was also there, and they heard the two people were fighting against each other. In City Base, Victoria was silently practicing. She looked at the people who came to pay her a visit and smiled faintly. Thank you for coming. You unfilial daughter. What else do you want? I want your life. Amelia was practicing on her own, and Sophia was also busy with her own things. The two of them were living nearby because of their family's residence, but they have completely different training. Now, Amelia was sitting on top of the wall, looking at Melly and Mo, who were eating voraciously. Are you going to advance to rank 2? Amelia asked. It might not be so soon, Sophia replied and raised her head. She looked at Amelia curiously. You're not saying that you've advanced to rank 3, are you? How can it be so fast? Amelia shook her head. She was only in the late stage of rank 2 after following her brother's training arrangement. Even though her brother was not here, he sent message to Arnold before leaving to help him monitor Amelia. Her brother truly knew her weakness and Amelia had no other choice but to follow the training he set up. It was exhausting. Sophia chuckled. You're a magic warrior. It's only obvious that you have to train hard. Amelia clicked her tongue and didn't want to talk about this matter again. The more she thought about it, the more aggrieved she would be. If only she chose other paths that only needed her to lie down to advance, it would have been much better. What is it? Victoria sent me a message to see her. She said that she had reached rank 2. So fast. Amelia was stunned. She remembered that Victoria told her that Victoria had trouble in her practice and needed more resources. So Amelia sent a batch of rank 3 magic beasts meet some time ago. She thought that Victoria's progress was slow, but if she had reached rank 2, she would be on par with Amelia. Wow! Sophia was also amazed and then laughed. How about if I come along? It has been a while since I see your cousin too. Sure. Amelia nodded. Among the 6 of them, Amelia and Sophia were the 2 who loved excitement the most. The 2 of them quickly came out and headed to the open area near the gate. This was part of the expansion plan of Cydia Base, and right now, there were not many people yet. As they got closer, they saw Victoria standing there, but before they could greet the other party, they sensed danger. Chapter 457. Battle Between Sisters. Bang! The counterattack shield was formed instantly in front of Amelia. This could be said to be part of her reflex right now. Whenever she saw danger, she would cast the shield. But she could sense that only part of the attack was blocked because she felt pain on her cheek. Woof! On the back, Melly was standing in front of Sophia and barked towards Victoria in front of them. Mo was also standing beside Sophia. He could remember that Ria's order to him was to protect Sophia. Victoria, what are you doing? Amelia yelled. Victoria saw the 2 of them blocked her attack easily and clicked her tongue. Her eyes were gloomy. She had long known that Amelia and the others should have better chance to become stronger. They were following the proper way, and the price they had to pay to practice and advance was not big. In this way, they could become the leading figure easily. Really, comparing people would only make one's stomach hurt. I want to become strong, Victoria said slowly. Her eyes were looking at the 2 people in front of her. For that, the 2 of you have to die. Swish! The next moment, they saw red color spread out and Amelia quickly raised her sword and avoided to the side. The counterattack shield was activated at all time and her expression was grim. She could not understand what the relationship between her death with Victoria getting stronger. Roar! Mo pulled Sophia back and a wind shield was formed in front of him. Melly was also following and avoided the attack from Victoria. The blood-red color looked eerie. And the stench, it's blood. Sophia's face was ugly. She's only a magic warrior rank 1 and her own strength was weak. The only method for her to compare with others was through Melly, who had reached the peak of rank 2, or Mo, who had reached rank 3. The problem is, the 2 of them would definitely prioritize protecting her. I really need more magic beasts. It was no wonder that the Beastmaster would keep a lot of magic beasts with different specialization. Each and every single one of them have their own role to play on the battlefield. Swish! Amelia saw that the shield blocked it and she frowned. Are you trying to absorb my mana essence? At this moment, she finally knew why she felt this move was familiar. She had already seen it in the video that her father showed to her when he taught her methods to protect themselves against the demonic magician. Because demonic magician wanted them to become their nourishment, so they have to be prepared. Right? Victoria didn't think that there was anything wrong with it. Why did you become a demonic magician? Amelia nearly yelled when she heard that. Her hand gripped the sword in her hand tighter, feeling deeply hurt. She wanted to step forward and shook Victoria's body to wake her up, but at the same time, she knew that it was impossible to change Victoria's mind so easily. because the moment Victoria decided to become a demonic magician, she should have known the consequences for a long time. Victoria didn't answer and simply said, "Blood is really beautiful." Swoosh! As the red blood color came once again, Amelia's eyes sharpened. Lightning slash. Lightning element converged in her hand and into her sword. This was the low-level version of the magic warrior spell that her brother taught her. Because her element is wind and lightning, she could also learn it. Samuel was no stingy with his sister. Swish! Boom! The lightning cut through the sea of blood in front of them and headed straight to Victoria. Ugh! Victoria barely avoided it, but the remaining lightning element still hit her. She could feel tingling deep in her body, and there was a cruel smile on the corner of her lips. "You're really strong." Swish! The blood spread out once more. Wind slash. This time, Amelia changed her moves towards the wind element and a few slashes appeared, cleaning up the blood wave that was approaching them. But at this moment, Amelia's face had turned pale. Her mana was not enough for her to use so many rank 2 magic spells. It was already on the verge of exhaustion by now. But after the blood wave was cleaned out, there was no figure of Victoria anywhere. She disappeared. Where's she? Amelia tightened her grip on her sword, nervously looking around. Woof! She left. Melly was looking at the gate where there was a hole there. The moment she attacked them and created the large wave of blood, Victoria was actually running towards the hole that she had made before. This should be her plan from the very beginning. The difference is that she actually planned to kill Amelia and escaped rather than escaping without doing anything. She has left, Sophia said in a complicated tone since she could understand Melly's words. But it was also because she understood that she felt really heavy right now. If Victoria left like this, is it possible for her to return and try to kill them again in the future? It's upsetting to think. Amelia was silent as she looked at the gate and then at the sword in her hand. She admitted that she didn't pay much attention to Victoria because the other party has her own affairs. She herself only played together with the others because they were basically training together. Is it wrong for her not to invite Victoria together? But if Victoria didn't even have the strength of a magic warrior rank 1, it's simply impossible to keep up with them. They were a bit closer because they were roommates, but they didn't actually see each other that often. Amelia felt at loss. But seeing Victoria going to the great length of becoming demonic magician, Amelia turned to look at Sophia and showed an ugly smile. Sophia, I'm going back to train. Chapter 458. The problem is, Sophia saw the expression on Amelia's face, but she couldn't say anything, because at this moment, Sophia understood that no words could truly explain what they were currently feeling. It's not your fault, Amelia, Sophia said slowly. She made her choice and you can't do anything about it. Amelia opened her mouth and then closed it again. She shook her head and said nothing. But at this moment, her desire to become stronger was extremely strong. Her friends could say that they were not wrong because they were indeed not very close to Victoria. The main reason why they have contacted Victoria in the first place was because she was then who introduced them to her and then let Victoria ask the academy to set up their rooms nearby. In this way, the 6 of them came roommates on the same floor. But Victoria had a single room just like Claire. The 2 of them rarely played together with the other 4 since their family was also rich and they didn't stay in the dormitory often. The one who usually stayed in the dormitory were Ria and Ruby. The rest only treated it as a place for them to go from time to time. So it was only natural that they didn't pay much attention to Victoria, and if the other party didn't say anything, they would not help her either. But Amelia couldn't. Because Victoria is her cousin, and she knew the situation in Victoria's family better than anyone. But she didn't reach out. Aside from helping Victoria to stay in better apartment, helping to pay some contribution points at the beginning, and sending some resources for training, she didn't come to see Victoria for a long time. It seemed as if she had forgotten that she had such a cousin. At this moment, Amelia simply despised herself. She should have done more. Perhaps, if she had done so, Victoria would not be driven to follow this path and could embark on a completely different path. Mr. Jones came to his daughter's side at the fastest speed possible. At Amelia's request, he investigated what Victoria has been doing lately, And when Amelia looked at it, she was angry. Angry at the corrupt security guard who took bribe to let these people come in. Angry at her uncle and aunt who tried to force Victoria to work for them. Angry at herself who didn't realize that such thing happened. Victoria didn't say anything, and it was originally impossible for Amelia to know. But how could Victoria came to Amelia openly and ask for help? From the very beginning, Victoria was unwilling to ask for help from others and kept it all in her heart. It was also because of this that others didn't know that she needed help. Does she need others wait for them to realize what had happened to her automatically? If she said nothing, no one will know. And this was the case. Victoria was used to be by herself, for no one in her family would be willing to help her. It was precisely because of this that Victoria chose to pick an extreme path for the sake of getting stronger and unwilling to let others come and reach out. Does she think that no one cares for her? Amelia snapped and wanted to throw away the document in her hand. Beside her, Sophia was following her to know what happened to Victoria. But after seeing these things, she was also silent. Because Sophia understood that Victoria will definitely not ask for other people's help. I think she's an independent person who wouldn't want others to worry about her. Sophia smiled faintly. She didn't want other people in her life, and it's precisely because of this that things ended in this way. But she could also understood why Victoria chose this way. It's pride. They all came from influential family, and every single one of them have similar family background. Well, excluding Ria and Ruby, these two people's family backgrounds were really different. The four of them, including Claire who was still living outside, were all used to be in high position. They were in the position where they could get everything easily. When would they need to ask others for help? There was no need to do so. They just needed to order someone. But now they couldn't. Even if they wanted to get the basic supplies, they had to work hard for the sake of it and then traded it with their hard work or through other supplies. I know, Amelia muttered in a low voice. She knew that it was not so easy for Victoria to ask others for help. Because Victoria was raised in a family where her opinion never mattered, and all she could do was to follow through what her parents arranged. Every single time she went against them, she would be punished. The change of the world could be said to be a chance for her to break away from her family members too. It was precisely because of this that Victoria chose to live by herself and didn't listen to them again. Her parents were no longer the most powerful people here. But Victoria underestimated them. They would not let her go so easily, and this was something that Victoria noticed easily too. It was precisely because of this that Victoria was being pushed again and again. The only thing she could do was to figure out a way to get out of here and become stronger. Because when Victoria became a magic warrior, she would have higher rights and her parents couldn't touch her so easily. The problem is, her talent is not there. Talent, this was a problem that many people couldn't solve so easily because it was innate. Everyone had different talent and it was simply impossible to change. The only thing they could do was to work hard and try their best to get stronger even if their talent seemed to tell them that it was an impossible thing. Chapter 459. Their changes. Amelia herself knew that it would be impossible for her to be like Victoria. In Amelia's eyes, Victoria has always been very strong. It was precisely because the other party was really strong and capable that it was hard for them to think that the other party would need them. But that was in the past. After all, they didn't have much interaction with Victoria because she was too preoccupied with her family matters. But I'm still pissed off, Amelia muttered in a low voice. Sophia couldn't say anything about this. She sighed when she thought about Victoria's strength after she took this path and shook her head. No matter what, it was impossible for Sophia to take this kind of path that didn't recognize any relatives. It's terrifying. And for some reasons, Sophia felt that Victoria simply wanted to be alone. Stay alone and got stronger as much as possible. What for? She didn't know. I'll stop her. Next time, I'll surely stop her, Amelia said solemnly and then turned around to start practicing once more. Sophia didn't say anything else inside. She didn't know much about Victoria aside from the fact that they have the same background. Moreover, Sophia knew very well that it was impossible for Victoria to inherit anything from her family members because of her status, and in a way, her position was actually similar to Sophia. They were just waiting to be used by the main family members. It was the sad fate for those who were born in the big families like them. I guess in a way, I'm luckier than you. Sophia smiled faintly and patted Melly's head beside her. To be honest, she herself didn't have much hope for her practice whatsoever, because her background and her life before the world changed was very leisurely. For her, it didn't matter whether she worked hard or not because the end result would be the same. Her family would make arrangement for her future. Facing this kind of thing, Sophia didn't have much thoughts about her life and was used to have others made arrangement for her. So it was hard for her to make the decision in the beginning. But when Ria came to her and presented her with the choice and allowed her to talk with Melly, Sophia knew that she wanted to take this chance. If she could decide her own fate with her own hand, who would want to have their life arranged by others? What other people think was the best for them might be necessarily true. And it was even more so because every single one of them have their own dreams and thoughts that they might not necessarily convey to others. For Sophia, being able to become a beast master under Ria's guidance was definitely her luck. If she had not met with Ria and became close with the other party, would Ria be willing to help her? Without Ria's help, Sophia was sure that she would still be in the Carson family, waiting for the so-called arrangement from her family members. Arrangement for the sake of the family instead of herself. I wish you luck, Victoria. Sophia patted Melly's head and then went back too. No matter what, Victoria used to be her friend. Even though Sophia felt some annoyance and anger for being attacked by the other party. But there was not much resentment. Because she understood why Victoria chose this way. Even though it was really extreme. It was really... Sigh. Amelia was really angry, but she simply shut it down and then went back to train. She didn't care about anything else but to train right now. Because this is the only way for her to vent her emotions. Only by training and training again would Amelia felt that she could calm down. She didn't have to think about Victoria's deeds either, which would only make her even more enraged because of how Victoria treated them. Mr. Jones let his daughter do whatever she wanted to do. At the same time, Sophia was also bitterly training. These two people, both young misses of the big families, were used to the fact that they could obtain everything easily. After all, with such a family background, there were not many people who could possibly go against their family. But right now, both of them only wanted to train, to become stronger on their own, so that they could stand on their own. Stephen helped his sister to practice and Arnold helped Amelia to practice. The two of them could see the two lazy girls' determination and willingly step forward to help. After all, facing someone who was willing to improve themselves were better than someone who had become a salted fish and didn't want to improve, right? But to be honest, it still felt distressing. Because they could see that these two people were trying their best to break through their own limit in their training. They were training to the point that they almost collapsed. This made them a bit scared and had to rearrange the training so that these two people would not get sick in the middle of their training. In this way, the two of them practiced frantically in Cydia base. Mr. Jones arranged for Victoria's father and Valeria's funeral. The two of them were killed by Victoria, and based on the fact that the wound was on the heart, Mr. Jones could guess that Victoria refined their heart blood essence for her practice. The blood of the closest one can help one practice faster. Mr. Jones sighed. The demonic magician had caused many people to lose their family members, and the reason was because they were the one who did it. Because they wanted strength. And the fastest method for them to obtain it in the demonic magician's path was through killing their own relatives. The closer they were, the better it would be. It was terrifying. Chapter 460. Victoria's side. This had broken who know how many families and produced countless filial child or even kind parents. Because people of all ages wanted to become strong, and the methods from the demonic magician's path simply allowed them to become stronger through this method. The website has been closed, but the effect is never ending. Mr. Jones shook his head when he thought about this. He wondered what the higher-ups were planning to do with those demonic magicians. Because thinking about these people Mr. Jones had chills on his back. Victoria's sighed. Thud, thud. Countless magic beasts fell down in front of Victoria. Seeing these magic beasts falling in front of her, Victoria didn't have any expression on her face. It was as if she was not killing magic beasts but just taking a stroll in a park. Something that ordinary people would do. It's really an odd feeling. Victoria looked at her hand and sighed. Her way of fighting was really brutal and simple. This was because the website didn't explain much about the technique that a demonic magician usually used, and Victoria herself didn't have anyone to teach her the training methods. But after killing people and then now killing magic beasts, Victoria felt very strange. Because she didn't feel anything. No nausea, no guilt, no hatred, nothing. She felt empty. So empty that it was really strange. But not in a bad way, because in this way, everything that happened outside would not be able to affect her in the slightest bit. No emotions would be the best for Victoria. Because in this way, she didn't have to feel hatred, anger, and any other negative emotions. As for those good emotions, sorry, she didn't have any need to feel them either. Feeling empty was simply the best. To be honest, Victoria first thought that the methods produced by the website was really unreliable. Because it was basically a forbidden methods and the website should have been made in a hurry. Well, not exactly in a hurry. But it was to be built in a limited space that would allow many people to learn and get started as much as possible. Because the website has been taken down by now. The method that's seemingly unreliable had actually allowed her to reach this point. So a demonic magician is really strong, isn't it? Victoria showed a smile on her face. This feeling of strength in her body could easily make one feel addicted. And right now, Victoria also felt that way. She had always known that Amelia was really lucky to have such a brother to help her getting started. Being able to train in the best environment and obtain so much resources, it would be a lie to say that she was not jealous. But Victoria was unwilling to back down and give up. She also wanted to get stronger, so she practiced hard. But fate seemed to play a joke on her because her strength increase was very limited and there was not much that she could do. Until the demonic magician paths came to the picture. With this method, there would not be a problem for her to become stronger. Perhaps it would be impossible for her to become the strongest like those pioneers who had opened up the path in the beginning. But it would be more than enough for her to rival other people who followed the ordinary paths. Even Amelia was almost killed in her hand. If I want to continue on this path, I have to abandon all emotions. And this also meant that I can't have any other connection or bonds with anyone. Victoria pursed her lips. If she truly wanted to kill everyone whom she knew in the past, that would also include Samuel, whom she definitely couldn't touch. This cousin of hers was definitely not an opponent that she could match. But there was no need for her to completely cut off the connection with the outside world. Right now, the improvement of strength had already soared. As long as she made a good use of this time, it would be more than enough for her to overtake Amelia and those others who were so lucky that it could easily make others feel jealous. I'll rise to the top, even if it meant that I have to kill all of you. Victoria's eyes shone with great determination. She will stand on the top no matter what, and no one shall stand in front of her. If there was anyone who wanted to stop her, then she will kill them. Swish! Traveling outside, Victoria made her way to City J. The best place for her to improve herself should be in the place where there was someone who could possibly give her guidance. And it was also the only place where demonic magician could live freely. After all, the leader of the city herself was also a demonic magician. Peter had just finished cleaning up a batch of magic beasts and read the news brought by Mr. Zachary. So the demonic magician had already started to make their move. Peter was not surprised when he heard that Dina Added had somehow made a website and let it be accessed by a lot of people. He guessed that there should be a powerful hacker beside Dina who chose to help her for one reason or another. Mr. Peter. Right now, many people are anxious about this matter. Governor Zachary looked at Peter, who was so relaxed, helplessly. They hoped to ask Samuel for help, but that man hadn't returned yet. So they could only try their luck and came to Peter. But what can I do? Peter shook his head. As long as the method is announced, I'm sure that there will be more and more people who will walk on this path in the future. Because it has low threshold and many people in our current era didn't want to work hard but want the result. Governor Zachary. While it's true, do you need to say it so blatantly? Peter coughed when he saw Governor Zachary's look.